Welcome to CA Virtual Family Law Attorney with founder Linda Garrett.
Hello and welcome to California Virtual Family Law Attorney with founder Linda Garrett. With over 20 years of experience practicing family law, Linda and her firm offers a unique blend of traditional representation and unbundled legal services, custom tailored to the needs of the individual. I am your host, Kevin Rosenquist, and today we're going to do an overview on California family law. Linda, welcome back.
Hi, thank you, and great to see you again, Kevin.
Yeah, I'm glad we didn't scare you away after the first one.
Almost.
You're here. So let's start with some misconceptions. What are some of the misconceptions that you hear that people have about divorce and family law in California?
Oh, you just asked a question that can go on for thousands of hours, but the
A series of episodes?
we can go on and on, but I will do my best. I would say maybe the top few. One of them is that, we can do this really fast. And for some odd reason, they watch too much TV. And the reason they can't have it fast is because here's a question I always ask someone on the phone. It's my test question. I call this my communication scale. I say on a scale of 0 to 10, with 0 meaning we don't communicate at all. If we do, it's nail biting. It's out of necessity for the kids. But otherwise, if he was dead today, Miss Garrett, all good. And I say, okay, so that's the 0. But on the 10 side, it's, kumbaya, we're best friends. I love him. We just don't want to be married anymore. We got married young. Okay, that's a 10. I said, unless it's a 10, if it is a 10 and above, 6 months is about right. If you're at 5 or under, so then I'll say, so Kevin, if you're on a scale of 0 to 10, you're going to say, I'm answering for you, by the way.
Okay. Yes.
It's going to be, it's a 2. Miss Garrett, yeah, we just don't talk. Well, guess what? You have now answered your question of how long will this take, and drum roll, how much will this cost? Mm-hmm. Because at that point, instead of the 10 person who says, I will talk to my husband or my wife about picking up Johnny at Starbucks at the corner of Main and South, the 3 people and below, Miss Garrett, I'm calling you to call my wife's attorney for my wife's attorney to talk to my wife that I need to pick up Johnny at this time because I have an emergency dental extraction. So what could have been 1 second text is now a 3 to 6 minute communication. But that's where we start. And then ex-wife says, oh no, he's just controlling me. He can't have what he wants. You go ahead and tell his attorney that blah, blah, blah. And then, so that's where we have the problems where they say, well, this can be done fast, Miss Garrett. You have lots of experience in all these things. Say, well, I can't control you, your wife. I can't control her attorney. I can't control the judge. I can't control the judge's schedule. I can't control anything, not even you. And sometimes what happens is that they think things will be streamlined. So the other misconception is that all attorneys are the same. Like, I'll hire an attorney who's got lots of experience. Now, with that said, everything is a two-sided. On the one side, I would say someone like me, yes, I take pride in what I do, is that I do care. I keep up with the law. I still have passion. I still care. But then there are attorneys who've been doing it as long as I have who are totally burned out. Mm-hmm. They don't care. They're in it for the money. And I can say last year I was at a settlement conference. It was set by, I represented my client who was a doctor, and his wife was a stay-at-home wife, no kids. But she had what I call in lots of my cases, the white elephant. Any idea what that is, Kevin?
It's a game at Christmas where you exchange gifts, right?
No. Yes.
Okay.
No, in this case, the white elephant is more like an invisible, humongous energy that nobody sees, tastes, or smells. And that's the thing that's holding up the divorce going forward versus sideways and backwards. So let me explain. So let's just say, I won't use you because you're too nice of a nice guy.
You can use me as an example. I don't care.
Are you okay? Because we've just met. I feel like we're just dating.
I'm a good sport.
No. Okay. So we're going to go back to you. So Let's just say, just to be fair from our last podcast with this one, that you're the scoundrel. You're the one who's cheating on your wife. Ooh,
I'm the bad guy. Okay.
You're the bad guy. And so your wife now, who's been married to you since she was 18 and beautiful and young and tiny, feels like she's now maybe in her late 30s, 40s, and she's gained a few pounds, a few stretch marks. You know, she's, as with all people, men and women, we get older, we have our scars, if you will, as we get older. So she's now found out about this other woman. And of course, you're just like all the other men, Kevin, she's younger. Ooh, burn. And so now we'll call your wife, we won't call her her real name, we'll just call her Mary. So Mary is now pissed as hell at you because, he's gonna rue the day. You know that phrase, nothing like a scorned woman. So she's gonna
Hell hath
fight
no
you on
fury like the
thank you.
yeah.
Hell hath no fury. And you see that in the divorces. So she's gonna fight tooth and nail to make up every story. Your one glass of wine or beer a week is now you're an alcoholic. You going out on a date with your girlfriend is now he ignores the kids. And that's why you see cases like Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt where they go on for years because they're making up these stories. So the white elephant, if you will, is the cheating. That's the thing that nobody can see. We can't say that in court. Oh, you want to give mom the kids because dad cheated. We can't say that. So mom's gonna make up false accusations. So what happens is what could be a simple case of just one house, two cars, one pension, one child becomes now a war on you don't get the kids. We're going to fight about custody. We're going to fight about child support. And of course, Kevin is hiding lots of money in hidden bank accounts. let's not even go there, but that's its own.
I wouldn't even know how to do it, but yeah, sure.
It just goes on. Now this tree is growing more branches and more branches, and I'm just like, it doesn't stop. And so I like to tell my clients, I say, I'll give you one example. A couple can be married for 45 years on a scale of the 8 to 9 communication and get their divorce done within 6 months. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, as I like to say. We can have another couple. This is an actual true story. I'll tell you, it's this guy back in San Francisco. He was finishing up divorce number 2. The ink wasn't even dry on divorce number 2. I'm still laughing till this day. And he goes to Paris and he meets a French model. Ooh la la. And she's gorgeous. And he marries her while he's on this trip and brings her back to the States. Unbeknownst to him, little secret is that she was a heroin addict.
Oh.
Yeah, little thing. And so she was doing her best to fall off of cars, to get oxycodone. She was doing everything she could to get her drugs through all these dentists, all these things he didn't know. So don't get married again, at least for now. I tell you, Kevin, got to wait it out. There's a reason. And so she does her best.
Avoid French models. My goodness.
At least wait, a year. Don't just marry them. But yeah, she was definitely, wow. Yep. She's beautiful. I say to my client, yep, very beautiful. And so he divorces her because she's now depleted through all his savings, his checking. And now he knows that she's just like, he's trying to cut off his arm to get rid of her. This 1 year marriage, yes, 1 year lasted in court for 2 years. She did everything within her power to put up delays because as long as she did, she was getting temporary spousal support. Now, we have general rules of thumb in California. If a couple has been married under 10 years, and if the court grants temporary support, this is just a rule of thumb, so don't take this as any advice, that the rule of thumb, which can go here, 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 is half the life of the marriage. So if you're married a year, half the life would be 6 months in her case. So her very smart attorney told her that. So he helped her, I would assume, to extend the divorce process out as long as possible. And she did that for 2 years.
Wow.
So here we have our first couple, 45 years married, done in 6 months. We have on the other side, a couple married 1 year. The divorce took 2 years. But as you can see, it wasn't me. It wasn't my client. It wasn't the judge. It was her and her attorney. So that's one of the big misconceptions, that we can do this really easy. I'm like, really? Okay, we'll see. But I didn't say it, by the way. I'll say, we'll see. You can, if you can control your wife, her attorney, the judge, and your moods of anger and rage, good luck.
You talked a little bit, I think it was the last episode when you were at your previous firm, that it's very hard to separate the emotional side or to not get somewhat emotionally invested. How do you balance that with what you're talking about, especially when you're watching emotions run so high between these these people, but you have to be the voice of reason and try to coach them through all this. How do you balance that?
Excellent question. So, yes. So, number one, yes, I am compassionate. I think it's kind of coming across, but I do put myself in check. It's almost like a parent who cares about their child, but knows when to say no. Like
Yeah.
I know how far to go, but then I stop. And where I stop is when there's a person who's trying to be drama and try to start the drama. Like, oh, Miss Garrett, he's going to pay. I say, stop. No, we're not going to go there. Now,
Not a good way to look at it.
I'll have compassion for my client because she's hurting. Or in this case, you're my client. Like, I have compassion for you. You're hurting. You might be even crying. And that happens on occasion on both sides, men and women. I've
Sure.
seen the strongest of strong men crying when they're talking to me. And I feel I'm very, using the woo-woo word, very empathic, and I can feel their pain. But when it comes to doing my job, I got to stop there and say, well, then let's focus on the facts and get the proof to prove to the court that the children's best interests are serving more with you than with mom. Now, you're not going to lie to me because I will fire you. Yes, I can let you go too. It goes a two-way street. So in other words, I go up to the line of compassion, but then I have to wear my hat and then go ahead and explain to them how we now prove their case with fact and being, I don't want to say non-emotional, but in a way, just stating your case very professionally, concisely, factually, with supporting evidence. That's what a judge needs. And so if they want to bring that into the courtroom, I say, I'm not your attorney. I don't play that game. And they say, understood. And so that's how I balance it. I go to the wall, but don't pass the wall.
Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about mediation? Because that I know is a great tool, and often helps helps things be more successful, helps people sort of maybe see the light and not be a little bit less angry. Can you talk about that process, how it works?
Sure. Personally, I don't do it myself. I'll get those phone calls, Miss Garrett, can you do mediation? I say no. And I explain
As
why. I
like
won't
people are
explain
asking you to
here.
be the mediator?
Mhm.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Oh, gotcha.
I
Yeah, yeah.
don't. Yeah, one of the reasons is because I want to be able to say to you, Kevin, like let's say you and your wife Mary come up to me and say, do mediation, and you both agree on something, and I think it's a horrible idea for you. Oh God, no. But I can't say that because a mediator by law has to be neutral. So instead, I refer people out to mediation, but it's a good thing to do. But here's the problem, two problems. Number one, it's either done too early. And I say that, I'll give you one very good example. Just 2 weeks ago, this woman calls me and she's doing mediation and she's reaching out to me correctly saying, just want to get your 2 cents on this. The problem though, is that they were doing the mediation before anything changed. Let me clarify. So what happens sometimes with folks, they say, you're the scoundrel in this conversation. So your wife says, I just saw this text from this girl named, what's her name? Bimbo.
Ooh, she sounds hot.
Another day, sorry, Bimbo. And she says, I can't wait to see you tonight. It's going to be a great hot night. Hello. And so you're all face, Red's all face, and you've been caught. Okay, fine. I was waiting to tell you I found her, not found her, but I met her. And so she is all upset. But that's a shock to both of you. So you just can't, she says, leave the house. And you're like, I'm not going anywhere. They don't pay me $1 million yet on this podcast that I'm doing. So I'm not going to leave. So now you guys are kind of still stuck in this house. The kids are there. So everything's the same. This
Right.
couple has not filed anything. They have not moved out. They don't know who's moving out. What are we going to do with this house? Who's going to pay the bills? There's about 1 million questions to which they have no answers to, because like an earthquake or being in the upside down world, we're all upside down and we don't know what we're doing here. We're all disoriented. Any monsters? Who's coming around the corner to save us? And so what happens is that those folks will say, we're going to try mediation. I say, it's not going to work. Well, we think it is, Miss Garrett, but I just want your advice. I go, fine. But the challenge is that when people get divorced, lives are going to split in half. Where is husband and wife going to live? Are they going to sell the house? Is one going to buy the other person out? Who knows? If dad moves out or mom, is it close enough to the children's school? Like, in other words, I can go on, but there's 1 million unknown questions that haven't even been asked. So when they go to mediation, how does that help? Because we don't have answers to how do we divide the property, divide the assets, deal with custody,
We're not ready
visitation,
for that
child
yet.
support. We are
Yeah.
not, but they think they are. So that's when it's not a good idea. The second time it's not a good idea, which is a huge one, because you're the scoundrel here.
I know.
Kevin, is you're hiding
I can't
stuff.
help it. Bimbo was really nice to
Oh,
me, you know?
yeah. Yeah. She met her on TikTok. You DM'd her.
On
She's
TikTok.
dancing away. You're like, oh,
Great. Now she sounds really young.
she's my soulmate. I know it. Sorry, poor little Kevin.
That's okay. That's okay. I think it's funny.
I'm trying to be serious. Okay. The problem in another case is where you're not being honest. So let's pretend I represent Mary, and she says, "Well, I just want to do mediation now." And I'll ask her questions. Well, is he fully disclosing all the assets? Well, I don't know because I've never. He's a control freak. He handles all the assets, and I just know I just found out he's cheating on me. And do you know how long? No, I don't. And so we have, like, again, these questions we don't have answers to. I go, does he want to do mediation? He says, well, he's willing to, but it'll, quote, shut me up. And a lot of questions and answers to that type. And I say, it's not going to work because mediation requires good faith, meaning that we really, in our heart, are doing this for the right reasons. It requires transparency, meaning that I have nothing to hide. If you want to see the bank statements, here they are. You want to see the credit card statements, here they are. You want to see how long I've been texting this girl Bimbo? Here it is, because you're saying it's 2 weeks. How do we know it's not been going on for 2 years? And that's important because what you're doing is you're then using the credit cards a lot or debit cards to pay for your buying her lingerie or buying her clothes or taking her on a business trip. And so the wife would need to know these things because she might be able to get reimbursed. If you're saying, oh, our credit card debt is 20 grand. So in California, the laws would technically say, because there are exceptions and exceptions to exceptions, but as a starting rule is that on data separation, these debts, credit cards, even if they're your name or mine, are our debts. And normally that's okay, but then we start falling into the exception quicksand, if you will. So of that 20,000, how much of it was for us, the kids, the house, the fertilizer for the yard versus restaurant, Palo Alto, Monterey, New York. And all of a sudden we're like, no, we're not going to divide that. So as you can see, there's so much deception and stuff being hidden. Then how can we have a good faith mediation? We can't because there's no transparency. So people don't seem to understand that, but they're so gung-ho for it because they want to save money. And I'm saying, fine, but you're making a sucker's deal. Because then what happens is that they've made these mediation agreements, and then I get the call after so many years of doing this. How can I get rid of this? How can I go back to court and change this? Did you have an attorney? Yes. Did you ask for a lot of discovery? Yes. Did you make any objections? No. And I'm talking like a lawyer right now, but I'm asking them the same things. So I say this because if you go back to court, I'm going to say, well, judge might say no to you. You had all these chances to right the wrongs, and you didn't. They were red flag, and you did nothing because you were so eager. Or let's just say in your case, you were so eager to get divorced and you wanted her to sign on the dotted line.
Right.
And now guess what? Miss Bimbo has left you for somebody else. Wow.
What?
And now I'm sorry. Yeah, you showed her gray hair and that was it for her. That was her non-negotiable. No gray hair.
Oh,
and so
Bimbo. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, that's okay. I'll recover. Well, yeah, it's definitely nuanced, and I mean, there's every case is different and all that, but at least mediation is an option out there for somebody if in the right situation.
And so with that said, there is those pool of folks. So the ripe point. So let me let you ask me this question. I'll ask it for you. So, Ms. Garrett, when would be the right time to do mediation? Glad you asked. The right time would be at what I'd call the middle. The middle is where somebody who's filed for divorce, the other party. So let's say you filed for divorce. Mary's filed her response. Actually, no, reverse it, because you're the bad guy in the story.
I'm the bad
so
guy,
Mary
yeah.
files for divorce. You file a response. You then would go to your next stage, which is known as the mandatory phase of what's called discovery. And what I tell people, it's that phase where you've got to disclose and put everything on the kitchen table, including the kitchen sink, for discussion and division. So this assumes you identified all the assets, all the debts, all the retirements, everything. And she's done the same thing. Again, key phrase, it's assuming that you have done these things. It's when people don't, they were now stuck in court in this divorce case for years. But assuming you are in integrity in that point, you may be a cheater and a scoundrel, but when it comes to money and it comes to us, it's your angel in this. And so now we have everything on the table. And she's, being a stay-at-home mom at the time, has nothing because you handled everything. So she says, well, yeah, this all looks right. I've looked at the credit cards. All seems fine. I'm thankful you didn't use the credit card on Bimbo. You used something else, or she paid for everything because you're, again, maybe now the gigolo. Who knows? She paid for everything.
Yeah.
There we go. Right. So she says, yeah,
Can
we're
I read
good.
this?
Yeah. And so now at that point, when we've done this disclosures and everyone is confident and positive, key phrase, positive, that everything's been disclosed, then we can discuss, hey, let's try mediation.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And Ms. Garrett, do you have any recommendations? And I would give some. Now they're ready, but not before.
Yep.
Definitely
That
not
makes
before
sense.
that.
That makes sense.
Okay, great.
All right. Well, thank you for tuning into California Virtual Family Law Attorney with founder Linda Garrett. To connect with Linda and her team, head to lindacgarrettlaw.com. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. We love having you here. Linda, it was great chatting with you. I've got to run. I'm going to see if I can patch things up with Bimbo.
I hope you don't, but okay, whatever.
Great to see you again. Looking forward to chatting with you again. Thanks, Linda.
Okay, you take care. Bye.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.